my name is Lee Lipscomb. I'm with the FedLink Technology Working Group, and I'm here in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, attending the 17th Annual International Conference on Gray Literature. And I would like to show you the program book. The theme this year is a new wave of textual and non-textual gray literature, and this year's conference is being held at the Royal Academy of Arts and Sciences here in Amsterdam from December 1st through December 2nd. Many of the sponsors are listed on the front of the program book. You'll see FedLink. You'll also see that we have EBSCO Publishing, Don's, and GrayNet themselves. The New York Academy of Medicine also is a sponsor, and we're looking forward to seeing all of the wonderful things that those who are going to be presenting here will present. We do have in the program book a schedule outlined, and thus far today, day one of the program, we have discussed the convergence of textual and non-textual gray literature. In the beginning, it seemed that gray literature was really focused on everything textual because we were really dealing with all print collections. But now, as we are becoming more digital with everything, so is gray literature. And even things that began as textual in format are being digitized and scanned, and therefore are now non-textual. Also, with the proliferation of audios and videos, we're seeing a lot more non-textual gray literature. We also talked about the influence of social media and those networks on gray literature, how that they have become a vehicle for the circulation of this type of information, and also too how they are in fact becoming a type of gray literature in of themselves through the many comments that are posted on Twitter and Facebook. Many of these things are being collected and are becoming important to our national collections, just as the Twitter archive is with the Library of Congress, and just as many scholars now utilize their Facebook pages to put information out about the topics that they're studying. Information which can be cited and referenced by a direction to the URL within the citation, and also too which can be more relevant or current and even more on point than many of those things that are published in the journals of the areas of the various disciplines that we're talking about with these scholars. Then we're going to tomorrow talk about the innovative ways in which we're leveraging the many types of gray literature. And gray literature comes in so many varieties. In essence, as Blaine Dessy of the Library of Congress said today, gray literature is in essence everything that's not commercially published. And so all of those types are useful and helpful to someone depending on what their information needs are. And we're going to talk about the best ways to make those things accessible. One of the things that will be discussed and has been mentioned already is the many divisions and the breakdowns between the various places where the information is stored. When you're dealing with a Google type situation, you do have those efficiencies that come about because of the sort of economies of scale of having the information all together in one place. And that gray literature, because of its nature being siloed, if you will, in so many different places, there's a huge time investment in trying to locate things and what we can do to bring all of these types of information together. This is of particular interest to me because I do see the advances that the scientific communities are making with their publication of gray literature, and noticing that the legal discipline is falling behind, but we have so much that's very important to share. So I'm hopeful that we'll learn from the scientific community and do more sharing of what we have. We also too are going to talk about visualizing content in and for gray communities, and that is showing the importance of what this gray literature is, how to show the importance of making it available and accessible to others. Just as we'll be talking with some folks that are coming from Korea, and they'll be discussing the different ways that they have designed these platforms to do analytics on the access of their gray literature to demonstrate the importance of it, and how these graphical and how these charted representations are showing the importance of gray literature. And there will also be presentations from the International Atomic Energy Agency, and they're going to also be discussing how they have so many unique collections that aren't available anywhere else, and that they are being made accessible through the internet, utilizing the many ontologies and the many forms of metadata that they are pulling together to try to organize this information in a way that's useful for scholars in that field, and in fact making a resource that's more helpful than anything Google or any of the other search engines that are more popularized can design. So I'm looking forward to this
Hi,
conference.
I'm Dominic Farisi from GreenNet International, based in Amsterdam, and I'm here at the GL17 conference and listening to Lee tell me about FJC, the Federal Judicial Center. Interesting.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed the presentation, but now I have a question for you. Can you tell us about how you're using technology at your institution, GreenNet?
I'm not using it. I'm 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 relying on experts who do this for GreenNet, and those are the four repositories and data archives, namely for our full text papers. That's the Open Gray repository, and they have a system manager and a technical department that does all of the for the metadata and the. We have also a Gray guide, the Gray that is for good practices and resources in Gray literature. That's done in Italy. Again, a technical department fully from the National Research Council there in Italy. We have also the Dans Data Archive of the Royal Academy, who's doing the data that is coming out of the conference papers. And finally, we have a number of discovery services that are in portals that are taking this information from these repositories and data archives and making them further available, such as Open Air in Europe, and such as we will be seeing wormwidescience.org in January. Yay! That's a plug for the community in Tennessee, Ostido, the Department of Energy.
That's great. I'm glad to hear it. So, you're not necessarily using specific platforms, but you're using the internet to share these repositories that are using these advanced technologies to make awareness of gray literature.
Yes, because GreenNet's purpose is not to duplicate or to replicate, but it's actually to make sure that the research that is being done and the results, the findings of that research, that they are housed in a proper repository or archive, and that they are then further used for the research. It's actually the development of the field of gray literature.
Software, how it's used to help libraries manage their gray literature collection, specifically for our federal libraries.
Okay. The software is called Islandora. It's owned by the Islandora Foundation, which is a not-for-profit organization that whose sole purpose is to direct the software and to make sure that it conforms to good open practices and standards. Islandora itself is an open source piece of software that is designed to tie together these three pieces of software. The main one, the actual repository that you put things inside, is called Fedora. It is it's a piece of repository software that doesn't understand what you put inside it. It just put things inside it, and then it has things, and you can ask it to give you back those things. It's just a repository. That's all it is. What Islandora is a module for the Drupal content management system that's able to go into Fedora and ask for things back, and then based on whatever model that item claims to have, it's able to provide some context and make it look like an actual thing. So we have a whole bunch of different models for content that say, like, this is an image and this is a PDF, or this is, and those ones are more concrete things because they have actual files. But there's some more abstract conceptual ones, like this is a book, and a book isn't really a thing.
Yeah, it
but
doesn't have an
pages
actual
are.
format.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pages are things,
Yes.
but a book is just a bunch of pages
Put together.
put together. Or a collection isn't really a thing, it's just a place where things go. So we have models for things like books and collections and more abstract sort of things. And so the purpose of this entire thing is that you're able to define what a type of content is and what it should look like when a user can see it, and how to manipulate it, and it also defines things like what kind of metadata should be associated with this. It allows people to generate custom forms that put XML in these. Our role in this entire thing, I guess, is so far we've provided most of the code for the software. Despite us not owning it, we are the largest contributors to it. This 92% of code provided by us on behalf of clients used to be 100%, and now we're down to 92%, which is really good because as it starts to gain traction, it starts to gain adoption by the community, and they start to also provide things to us, things that we wouldn't think about, or things that, everybody has different kinds of needs. And the nice thing about Drupal is that you can just swap things in and out, whatever you really want. And so people with different needs make different things, and then everybody kind of works together to make this crazy modular system that can model dozens of different types of content and has all these crazy bells and whistles. That's all over. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat.
And so you got people that are kind of like the community tends to do, writing code, submitting it, that whole kind of open source thing where everybody's contributing.
Yep.
It's neat. So tell me about the solution packs real quick.
Solution packs are Drupal modules. Islandora, the Islandora module itself, understands what solution packs are. It has this concept of this is what a solution pack looks like. And so when you go to a Drupal website that's implementing Islandora, you go to specific pages based on the identifier of what you've got inside Fedora, and Islandora will try to generate on the fly a web page for you representing whatever that thing you have inside Fedora is, and it will generate that page based on the content model. So the first thing it says is, what is this thing? And it gets it out of Fedora, and Fedora says, this thing claims to be a PDF. And so then Islandora says, okay, let's go take a look at our PDF model and see what that says that we're supposed to do. And so the PDF model responds back and says, okay, inside here we should have some metadata. So here's some metadata, and you can put that up on the page. Inside here we should also have created a preview image from the top page of the PDF. That happened when the actual PDF went in. It was like, put in the PDF, and then it's like, okay, well, we need to take the top page off and make an image out of it. All that stuff, when it goes in, gets put into Fedora, and then when it takes it out, it's like, okay, this is a PDF, so we should have a picture in here as well. And then puts that up on the page. The actual thing inside Fedora should have a title. It should be owned by somebody. It should say whether or not you're allowed to view it. Things have different states.
Like PDFs have properties entered in them. Will it pull those things out too?
Yes.
Oh, great.
So
and display that.
that's actually, it doesn't, like everything else with Islandora, it doesn't do it by default.
Okay.
All of that stuff is provided by modules. So there's a, what is that called? FITS, technical metadata extractor. And then the PDF content model itself attempts to pull any text it finds out of the PDF. So it tries to get as much information as it possibly can, just throws that in Fedora, so that based on whether or not people actually need those things, like the text of the document and other things, tries to pull that out of there and display that for users and allow them to mess around with it.
So it looks like UCLA, Berkeley, and Prince Edward Island University is using these?
Yep.
Or is this the actual government?
This is actually, it's a little column A and B. It's the University of Prince Edward Island, but they have a project on the go where they are attempting to digitize the entire history of the Legislative Assembly of Prince Edward Island. And that includes a whole bunch of stuff. It doesn't just include, so they've got like minutes and documents and things that have been archived by the legislature, and that represents the sort of gray literature portion of what they're putting in, but also one of the sort of heady conceptual things that Island Aura understands is is an entity, like a person, and so they're also putting people in. They're putting like all the different legislators. They're trying to
and
make
organizations
a
and
bibliography
all of
of it.
that.
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, Dan, thank you for sharing with our blog, and I hope that some of our friends back in DC will show some interest and come and see you at www.discoverygarden.ca.
Yeah, me too.
Cool, thanks.
Thanks.
Sinon, parce que c'est pas usual. Sinon, je sais, la prochaine fois que je cherche, votre travail, c'est avec le.
Later on, PDFs were added. Later on, books were added. Later on, citations and theses, and now we have a sort of generic document that you can put in Microsoft Word documents or docx or Excel spreadsheets.
My main project is actually text simplification for patients. So we're building a tool that will semi-automatically take text and simplify it, will suggest simplifications, and it's going to be used by healthcare providers. So we look at linguistic features of the text that are indicative of difficult or easy, and we use those to come up with easier suggestions. One of those features is term familiarity, meaning how common is a term, how well will a person know this. And in all the studies we've done, we found this to be a really good feature. If we increase the familiarity, we find that people understand the text more and remember more. So we call retention higher. So this study, this was different in that they sent information to healthcare providers. So they sent alerts like flu is coming, how to prepare. So to the hospitals and all that, Ebola, those kind of things. And they sent it by SMS, email, or fax. And there was always a link included to, especially with SMS, to go, for more information. And so it wasn't always clear, after about 5 to 10 days after sending that, we'll call them on the phone and do an interview and check, factual checking, what do they remember? And they would write it down. And we have all that data, and we have all that data coded.
We are from the Czech Republic, National Library of Technology. My name is Petra. My name is Anna. And we are presenting a poster about the National Cooperation Network on Grey Literature in the Czech Republic. Okay. And we have 7 years of practice. So, from this practice, we identify that there are 3 levels in this network. On the first level are the producers of the Grey Literature. On the second level is some are guarantors who are able to prepare the good practices, methodologies, inform the producers on the first level, and also the service institutions on the third level, how to promote and use the Grey Literature. And on the poster, there are general informations about the producers, the participants, institutions, and use tools. And there are also described environment, opportunities, and limitations. And here on the main maps, you can see the described example of the Czech Republic in details.
That's very nice.
Short overview.
So if anyone would like to see it online, post out, that's the email or the website address. Thank you.
put it here. It is about our national repository.
Great.
Gray literature that people will be PDF and buy those and
Great news from here in Amsterdam. The 18th International Conference on Gray Literature is being held in New York City, New York. So they're calling it New Amsterdam here, New York City, that is. But I think you agree with me that it's always going to be the Big Apple to us. The conference is going to be held the 28th through the 29th of November in 2016. And the title of the conference is Leveraging Diversity in Gray Literature. So come on out and make the crowd more diverse by putting yourself in it.